Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to today is Tuesday, December 22nd. Hey, just in case you didn't know, it's 3 days until till Christmas. So yesterday we did bounce back for the most part, much better ending of the day than what it was at the beginning of the day. And Dave and I will talk about that. And guess what? The COVID uh, stimulus relief bill got passed last night, so we'll talk about that a little bit this morning too. But stay tuned as we get ready to talk to Dave here in just a few minutes.
5.1. That's Journey there. Hi, I am so glad you're here this morning. It's 8:38 here, 22 before 9. Then time to check in and see what Wall Street's doing to your money this morning. We have a stimulus bill. And quite frankly, we were kind of expecting it looked like it was a major sell-off yesterday. We recovered to kind of a nothing day. Let's head downtown and check in with Statler Financial Services' very own Phillip Statler and see what his take on the day looked like yesterday. Phillip, it didn't end up half as bad as we thought it was going to, did it?
Absolutely not, Dave. You know, it was a pleasant surprise as we started to gain momentum throughout the day and actually ended up. It was a little split, but we did end up with a little bit of green ink on some of the indexes.
Yeah, we did. The Dow actually eked out 37 points worth of gain. NASDAQ was off 13, and the S&P was off 14 and a half. But, given the way we were starting out, I was afraid we were looking at something one step shy of a bloodbath yesterday. So turning into a nothing day isn't at all a bad thing, is it?
No, you like those kind of days when they end up that way and they start that way. The ones you don't like are the ones that start up in the big green territory and end up in the red territory.
And we've seen a couple of those over the last 6-8 months as well. The thing that's making the difference is going to be we finally passed a stimulus bill, $900 billion worth of stimulus money. And I was reading that the bill itself is something like 5,000 pages long. I seem to remember a Nancy Pelosi quote, "We got to pass the bill before you can read it," right?
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see what is in that bill, what's really in the fine print that they haven't talked about yet, or nobody's really dug out and found yet. My hope is that there is some relief on the payroll protection plan, that it's buried down there somewhere, so that if it's less than $150,000, it's a less time consuming issue to get that resolved. But hey, people are going to get cash. You got to like that. And I'm sure the economy and folks that really need it are going to appreciate that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what really was the crux of the thing that was making all the headline news. And the deal is $600 a head. If your family earns less than $75,000, for a family of four, that would boil down to $2,400. And the checks could be going out as early as next week in time to pay off the Christmas card credit bills, right?
Well, that's right. Now, that's a little misstatement there, Dave, because 75,000 is per person. So a husband and a wife, if their adjusted gross income is less than $150,000, they're going to qualify for the full amount. And that's $600 per person, whether it's an adult or a child. So that's really different from the last one too. So so that's going to mean a lot more money coming out to folks when it comes to their kids.
Yeah, that is a change. I thought it was 75,000 household income before it starts going down. It's 75,000 a head per earner, right?
Well, for a couple. So a husband and wife file a joint return. The adjusted gross income, as long as it's less than $150,000, they'll get the full amount.
That ain't bad. And the other things in it, there's a whole bunch of Christmas tree trimmings in there that have no relevance to anything, like establishing a couple of new wings of the Smithsonian Museum for women and I think Native Americans as well. Okay, nice things to do, but not really relevant. That just bloated up the bill to being like 5,000 pages. You said you didn't see a payroll protection pact extension in there?
I didn't see, no, there's an extension in there. What I didn't see is an easy way for the forgiveness, because right now it's kind of cumbersome. And so one of the numbers I read is that if the SBA has to actually look at every one of these things, it will cost us over, I think it was like $30 billion for them to, in man hours, to approve every single one of those loan forgivenesses. And
Uh,
so the thing was, they were trying to get like $150,000. If you signed a form saying, yes, I used it like you told me to, it would be done. Um, and then the higher dollar values then actually require some substantiation and that type of stuff. Will that get
oh,
done? Is that in there? I don't know.
okay. The other thing that was included for for folks that might be asking did include an unemployment compensation spiff, an additional $300 a week of federal unemployment compensation. If I'm understanding correctly, that's on top of any state unemployment comp a person gets, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
All right. So we got kind of like we were saying yesterday morning. It looks like it's a half a loaf instead of a whole loaf. The bill does include that restriction on the Federal Reserve's bond buying acumen, which obviously is not making the Fed particularly happy. And a few investors are kind of verklempt over that as well, which probably explains why we didn't have a skyrocket yesterday. And we're not really looking at a skyrocket this morning early on either. Wall Street is not unenthusiastic, but they're not throwing a party, are they?
No, they're not throwing a party, but definitely looks better than yesterday, and still kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. But at least it's not going the opposite direction.
Yeah. The other big report that comes out this morning economically is the gross domestic product. I think this is the final look at the third quarter GDP. And wowzers, if we weren't in such a hole, you'd look at a 33.4% increase in the United States gross domestic product, and you'd throw a party, and that was up by 0.3% from the prior reading, too. So, yeah, we grew like a weed during the third quarter, didn't we?
Well, we did, and let's take it on the backdrop of what happened in the second quarter, right? And so we needed to bounce back after what we saw in the second quarter.
That's why I said if it wasn't such an El Stinko start of the year, this would be the reason to throw a party. But it's nice to see an upward revision in it anyway, and that's got to help the equity markets as we're going forward today.
Well, it definitely will help a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a huge increase, but still, any little bit's going to help given where we are and what people are really looking at going forward in the first quarter next year.
Absolutely. My indication as to whether or not there's faith in equities is I look at the direction that the bond rates are going, and I noticed that both the 30 and the 10-year Treasury bills are down by like 2 to 3 basis points already this morning. That does indicate, at the very least, a little bit more confidence in the equity market anyway.
Yeah, I'm impressed. The 10-year Treasury is getting back close to. It's not really getting close. It's getting close to 1%, which is a nice deal.
Did you ever think you and I would be saying, "Hey, it's good news. The 10-year bonds are getting up toward 1%."
No, isn't that crazy?
Just ridiculous. I got to assume that starting tomorrow, we're going to start seeing volume going down a bit on the exchanges, although with all the news items that are coming out, the risks in Europe on the new COVID strain, the stimulus bill, learning what's in it, and the GDP, we're going to be busier a little closer to the holiday than we would be during a normal holiday week. I'd assume that'd be a fair guess.
I'm thinking so, Dave. I mean, there's just a lot of balls in the air right now that people are having to keep track of. With the vaccines and the new strain of the COVID and just all kinds of different stuff happening. And so maybe it'll take a holiday on Christmas Day and then kick back in on Monday.
It could very well be. Of course, we do need to be reassured. Our Congress has been inoculated with the vaccine, even the 30-year-olds who are in about the lowest risk category you can expect. So you can rest early during the Christmas holiday. We may have a bunch of doctors and nurses who haven't been able to get the vaccine yet, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Rubio have both been vaccinated. Don't you feel good to know that?
Oh, that just gives me so much certainty in my life.
Yeah, it makes my heart just go pity pat, knowing that my government is safe. We do have at least one report to share this morning from quarterly earnings, don't we?
We do. We have CarMax reported, and they did okay. They beat by I don't know, about 30, almost 30 cents a share. Revenue came in ahead of Wall Street expectations. They did have a little fly in the ointment. Their same store comparable used vehicle sales were down about 0.8% compared to what they expected. They expected to be up 1%. So
that explains the downtick this morning, doesn't it?
So that's what's causing it to be a little bit gunshot this morning. It's down 3.25% today.
Ooh, that's even down from my delayed quote had it.
Yeah.
Resetting the table this morning. Mixed bag yesterday on Wall Street, but boy, a nothing day felt good after it looked like the sell-off we were about to experience yesterday morning. Getting roughly even, basically, in all three of the indexes. 45 minutes before we open this morning, Phillip, what direction are we going today?
You know, it's we can say the Dow is basically flat right now, and the other two indexes are up slightly. We got the S&P 500 up almost 0.2%, and then we've got the Nasdaq up almost 0.5% right now. So some good things on that front. On the commodities front, not quite as good. We got silver down 1%. Gold is down a little less than 0.1%, and then crude oil, even though I think it's exactly where it was yesterday when we talked at $47.35 or 36 cents a barrel, but that's down 1.25% from yesterday.
I'm not that much of a commodity specialist, but I'm finding it intriguing. It looks like we trade up during the day and then drop for the morning back down to basically where we were the day before.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what you're saying. It's traders. Those are traders making it on the pennies.
I think so. World markets overseas, the Asian Rim market off a bit. As a matter of fact, Japan was off by a full percent at the close early this morning. Europe, on the other hand, is looking at our GDP report and our futures and saying, hey, this ain't so bad. Britain and Germany are up between a point and a point and a half, about halfway through their trading day. Phillip, it's time to start thinking about end-of-the-year planning and how to adjust things in order to make things work. If you haven't planned out the end of the year, there is still time to get things going and get things aligned properly for 2021. How do I find you to do that planning?
And then give us a call at 863-382-0037 and catch us on our website at statlerfinancial.com. They can even follow us on Facebook. Just search under Statler Financial Services. You'll find our page there. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk 730.
And back here one more time tomorrow morning about the same time on Light FM. Phillip, thank you so much. We'll catch you then, all right?
All right, man. You have a great day.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us. Remember, I'm not in the ocean. I'm not at the beach. I'm in my office today, but we've moved into a new room for our radio room. And so we don't have really pretty walls back there. So I figured you'd rather look at the beach than look at some bland walls back there. So hey, thanks for joining us again today. Hope your week is going well. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Take care.